Okay, I think we're good now. Okay, awesome. Let me just turn that off and we shall get started. Okay. Hi everyone, I am Dreamworks 15 and welcome to another one of my Rantstreams for movies. And this time we're going to be doing more Dreamworks movies. I don't plan to do all of them, at least not now, but here's another one. So this time we're going to cover Rise of the Guardians, Monsters vs. Aliens, Megamind, and The Bad Guys. Hi Thomas! But yeah, let's get started. Okay, so you guys know how this goes. We're going to cover the chronology of these films first. So Monsters vs. Aliens was released in 2009, then Megamind in 2010, then Rise of the Guardians in 2012, and then The Bad Guys in 2022. So I decided to cover these four this time. But I've only ever watched the first one in theaters, I think. I remember watching the first one in theaters, Monsters vs. Aliens. The other three I didn't. So, yeah. Those I watched on Blu-ray. Anyway. Hey, Maple. Honestly, I probably could have done this yesterday, but I just did not feel like it. And plus, like, I hadn't watched, like, 2 of the movies, so whatever. Anyway. Let's see, how do I start? Let's just go in order. Let's do Monsters vs. Aliens first. I did some of the presentation. I didn't finish all of it, but that's okay. It's like I know what points I want to cover. You've seen 3 out of these 4 movies. Oh, so which one haven't you seen? I'm going to guess that it's... Oh, you literally just said it. I knew it. I knew it. It is Rise of the Guardians. I figured like you that was the one you didn't watch. I don't know why. I just thought that was the one you didn't watch. But yeah, the only movie I've seen here is in theaters is Monsters vs. Aliens. Everything else I just watched on Blu-ray. Okay. So Monsters vs. Aliens. Okay. So I'm going to say this up front. This movie was better the last time I watched it. Like I remember it being better than I remember it being better in the past. So I don't know, like, now that I've watched this movie, like, my opinion of it has, I just think a little bit, like, the score I would give for this movie has gotten lower. So, yeah. Let's just say my opinion took a turn for the worst. But, okay, so... well, I'm still going to be nice to this movie because I don't think it's bad. It could have been better, but I don't think it's bad. But let's talk about the positives. Okay, so the animation was actually good. Dreamworks is known for having good animation, so this isn't surprising, but the animation was good in this movie. It's not it wasn't the greatest, but it was still pretty good. Like everything was animated pretty well. The movie was, for those of you who don't know, the movie was done in CGI, but yeah, it was done pretty well. In fact, I think not all DreamWorks movies, but most of them are in CGI, so it's not too surprising that this one's in CGI too. Or maybe all of them are in CGI. I don't know. I think the earlier ones weren't. The earliest ones, but I don't know. It's been a while since I watched some of their earlier works, like Chicken Run and Wallace and Gromit or whatever. Anyway, Okay, so the animation. But yeah, the animation was pretty good here. The plot was nice. It was decent. Like, see, the thing is that, this movie, it uses the common trope of get a bunch of misfits together to rally, like to work for a greater good. Kind of like Suicide Squad. Speaking of which, like, three of the movies here use that trope, but well, Megamind sort of does it. It's less about the Suicide Squad trope and more about the bad guy turned good kind of trope thing. But you get what I mean. Anyway, but yeah, nothing wrong with using the trope. Again, tropes are just tools for storytelling, so there's nothing wrong with having a trope in your story as long as you use it well. And I think it was used fairly well here. So yeah, the plot. So I'm not going to bother mentioning everything that happened in the story. That's just going to take too long. So, but basically, there's this girl named Susan. She was going to get married, but then she got hit by a meteorite and surprisingly didn't die from it. And that meteorite contained some radioactive substance that turned her into a giant. Literally, while she was having her wedding, she turned into a giant. And then she got captured by the military, and then she got sent to a prison with other monsters. One called the Missing Link, who's basically a fish man. One called Bob, who's just a giant gelatinous blob of some shit. Then there's this scientist who used to be human, but then accidentally turned himself into a cockroach. And then there's this giant insect character who's basically Godzilla. And yeah, Susan's just a giant girl who's not as big as the insect, but whatever. And so whoever runs the warden of that prison, I forgot what his name was. Oh, W.R. Monger. Get it? Because warmonger, huh? Get it? Yeah, get it? Yeah. It's just stupid DreamWorks humor. Anyway, he sends the monsters to fight this alien robot that showed up on Earth. Yeah, the villain's an alien, and he wants the radioactive substance that Susan has in her body. But at first he didn't know that she had it in her body. All he knew was that the meteorite landed on Earth, so he sent out a probe to go and find it. So the monsters fought the probe, and well, it was just Susan. Like Bob, the cockroach scientist. I forgot what his name was, and I forgot what the insect's name was too. I'm sorry. The Missing Link didn't really do anything. Unfortunately, he was just useless. But yeah, they all stopped the probe and saved all the people on the bridge. Yeah, it showed up near this bridge, and there was a shit ton of cars there. But yeah, they saved the day, and so that basically got them their freedom. Susan goes back to Derek. He rejects her like an asshole. Wow, I didn't see that coming. No, I'm kidding. It's okay for a movie to be predictable. Like, there's nothing wrong with it inherently. As long as it's not too predictable, then it's fine. But yeah, Derek, unsurprisingly, rejects Susan. And then Susan and the other monsters, they bond for a moment because society just doesn't approve of them. Like, freaks, like society just is just scared of them. Oh, but then the alien kidnaps Susan and then sucks all the radioactive substance out of her, so she turns into a regular human, and you're wondering how tall she is compared to all the other monsters. She's slightly shorter than the cockroach scientist, so yeah, but anyway. But yeah, the other monsters sneak up on the alien ship together, but then, like, in the process of saving her, like, well, they infiltrate the ship and then cause it to set off a self-destruct sequence, but then everyone except Susan gets trapped in the main chamber. So Susan goes finds a way to go and rescue her friend, and she basically challenges the villain head on, and then the villain had collected all the radioactive substance into this one orb in this room that he was going to, from which he was going to escape with this escape pod. But Susan caused the orb to fall on herself intentionally, and then she turned back into the giant woman. Her name's Ginormica, whatever, and she goes back for her friends in a surprisingly short amount of time, and then like the ship starts blowing up, like everything just starts like getting destroyed and shit. But then the general guy, W.R. Monger, shows up and then saves all of them while riding Insectosaurus. What's the insect's name? And yeah, it's a butterfly now. Whatever. It turned into a butterfly. And yeah, and then they all fly away while the ship is exploding. Then they go back to town, so the townspeople are actually happy about what the monsters did. So yay, the monsters are finally getting approved by people. Yay. And Derek shows up and tries to take Susan back in a very smug, condescending, shameless way. Oh, and remorseless as well. Susan rejects him and then flings him in the air, and then Bob catches him before he hits the ground, and then Derek just walks away in shame or whatever. At least I assume he did. But yeah, and then the general congratulates all the monsters, and then tells him that there's another monster out there in Paris causing destruction, and so all the monsters they all get on the insect guy and fly off to Paris and shit. Oh yeah, and Susan says goodbye to her parents or whatever. But yeah, that's basically the plot. It works. It works. I won't say it's the greatest turn misfits into heroes plot. I feel like there are other movies that have done that better, like The Bad Guys, for example. But the way this one did it, I mean, it was serviceable. And the whole, society initially fearing you and then, approving you. Again, I feel like other movies did that better, like, again, The Bad Guys and Shrek, for example. But still, I mean, the way this film did it was pretty serviceable. I will say that. I don't know. I just feel like I don't know. I just feel like the way the film did it was just. I think it might have had something to do with the pacing, because I feel like that part of the film wasn't focused on enough. I don't know. I don't know. It just felt a bit lacking in that respect. But maybe that's just me. I don't know. Let me go to the chat. I know there are probably some good points that have been made. I feel like this movie is an example of a great concept, but with merely good execution. Exactly. That's how I feel, because when I rewatched this movie, when I finished rewatching it just felt a bit underwhelming. And then I checked out a review that basically had that basically had some of the same complaints that I did. Like, this film I feel like it just could have been better when it came to the trope of, I'll just call it the Suicide Squad trope. Let's just call it that. But, yeah. Because really, most of the time, we're not really focusing on how society perceives the monsters. We're focusing on just the monsters, like, like just fighting enemies and really that's it. Like we don't. I don't know. It just I feel like they could have used the trope better. It just felt so lacking here. Oh, there was a short for the movie? Oh, damn. Damn. Hold up. Was it called Bob's Big Break? Because I don't know. Like, but regarding the bonus features, the only things I watch are the deleted scenes and short films. I don't watch anything else. But I think I might have missed a short film for this one. Well, whatever. Anyway. Oh shit. Oops. Let me put this back in its sleeve. Okay, anyway. Bob's Big Break. Okay, so that's what it was. I didn't watch that. Like, sometime... How long even is it? It's probably not that long. But let me look it up. How long is it? 20 minutes. I didn't even watch that one. I'll watch it during the break. Like, I'll have a break at some point during this stream. I can watch it during that. And then I'll come back and comment on it. Anyway. But I did watch the Megamind short film, which basically took place after the Megamind movie. But anyway, but yeah. The music was good. I don't remember much of it. Like, like the tracks that played during the action sequences were good, but it's not like I'm going to remember them. Like, they did their job, but I wouldn't say they're particularly memorable. I don't know. I just say that they're good because I don't know. I don't know. I just have a hard time remembering tracks like this. Like, I don't know. But yeah, the music was good. I'd say it was good. I can't remember much of it, but when I did hear it, I thought it was good. So, yeah. Okay. The characters were nice in concept, and I say in concept because I thought their execution was kind of crappy. Look, I'm already talking about negatives. But, yeah, I'm sorry. Like, it's just that... See, like, you had... I don't know. I feel like the side characters... And that just takes me back to this one. The side characters. I feel like they could have been used better. Like... Really, it's just... I feel like this film focuses a little too much on Susan and not enough on the side characters. The insect monster honestly should not have even been in the film, in my opinion. Like, it was so irrelevant that for much of the film I forgot it was even a thing. Like, did it really need to be there? Especially since Susan was already she was already giant enough. Did we really need another giant? Like, the insect guy just didn't need to be there. It could have just been Susan and the other three. The insect guy could have just been kicked out entirely. And the other three, well... I mean, how do I put this? Like, I just feel like they were underutilized. Like, they could have been used more. Like, even... Like when they were all fighting the alien robot, it was really Susan doing most of the work. Everyone else was just kind of there. So that was kind of a disappointment. They do more as the movie goes out, but I mean as the movie goes on. But like, I feel like they could have had more screen time, and they could have been fleshed out a bit more. Because they're all pretty one notes. in my opinion. Well, not, I wouldn't, maybe not exactly one note, but they're kind of flat, and they could have been developed more. And another negative I'd say is that the humor, it's very hit or miss, usually miss, in my opinion. Like, I don't know. There are a few moments that made me laugh, but, you know, more often than not, I was not laughing. Like, especially regarding the character Bob, they try to do a lot of jokes with him, and most of them just did not hit the mark, in my opinion. So, just, no. I mean, don't get me wrong, the movie still has some funny moments, but I feel like it could have been better in the humor department. I never watched Thor: Love and Thunder, but anyway. Or Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness. I never watched either of those. One big standout moment for me was when the president was playing on the keyboard while trying to make contact with the alien ship. Oh yeah, where he played the Axel F music, and I was like, okay. Okay. I mean, it was kind of funny. It's kind of funny. But, yeah, like, the movie's humor could have been better. Anything else I should say? Oh, the villain. The villain is just basic. The villain was just really basic. The villain was a basic bitch. And I say this because, like, there was this one moment where he was, like, he was just so one note. Like, he barely had any sort of motivation or whatever. I mean, he wanted his radioactive substance back. But, like, but why he wanted to invade planet Earth, well, like, the movie presents it in a way. The movie makes you think at first that he's going to explain it, but it constantly interrupts him because he was in this cloning machine, and every time, and like throughout his story, he keeps going in and out of it, so we don't really get the full story on why he's trying to invade Earth in the first place, which I felt was like a cheap cop out to like not actually establishing any sort of motivation for the villain. It's just, like, it's funny, but at the same time, I feel like it just hurts the movie's plot. So, yeah, sorry. I think the villain was just very flat and one-dimensional. Now, granted, not every villain needs to be fleshed out, but this one was just so lacking. Just so lacking. Sorry, I just did not like the villain. What the? Is this working? I'm checking the replay. I'm checking. What is it? Oh, okay, good. I don't really watch Marvel movies, so I can't comment on Doctor Strange or Thor. And the only Avengers movie, I can't speak today. The only Avengers movie I watched was the first one. I remember watching the first one in theaters, and I barely remember it. I know that Black Widow was in it, because, you know, which makes sense. She was an Avenger, obviously. And Captain America and Thor. I remember that there was this one battle that they had, where, like, Thor hit his hammer on Captain America's shield, sorry. And I remember that the Hulk also had this one line where he was like, "Oh, I'm always angry," and then he just turns into the Hulk, like, just on the spot. That's it. I barely remember anything from that film, only those moments. But anyway, But yeah, the villain in Monsters vs. Aliens was just very generic and basic. Really, this film had good ideas, but I feel like the plot is just kind of weak. It's just kind of weak. Like, I feel like they could have done more with it. Maybe what would have helped was like show the monsters trying to like, you know, trying to like interact with humans more, only to like fail because, you know, hey, they're monsters and shit. But then again, they were locked up for like how many years? So I don't know. I feel like they probably could have done more with that. Like maybe show the monsters trying to interact with the humans before they got locked up. I feel like that would have given the side characters more characterization. But anyway, I need to watch the other Avengers movies because I don't know. I feel like Black Widow seems like such an interesting character. She's basically Captain Marvel, but not shit. And I've never watched a Captain Marvel movie, nor do I plan to, because I've heard bad things about it, and I can see why. But, yeah. Like, I feel like watching the Avengers, but probably just for Black Widow. Not that the other characters are bad, it's just that I love Black Widow. She just kicks ass. I love her. Right? The original Avengers is over 10 years old. Where has the time gone? Right? Man. Time flies. But yeah, Monsters vs. Aliens. Overall, a decent film. Could have been better, but you know, it worked. Okay, so now on to a better film, in my opinion, by quite a bit. Megamind. Megamind. Okay, now this one I oh man. Now this one I actually like this one quite a bit. It was quite funny. That's one thing I like. The humor. The humor was great. I loved it. Like a lot of the jokes, like I'd say most of the jokes hit. Not all of them, but most of them hit. like the the villain Megamind himself was funny. The minion was funny. Like even the side characters had their funny moments. Like what was her name? I forgot what the woman's name was. What was it? Deborah? I literally forgot what her name was. OMG. But yeah. But yeah, like I thought the movie was pretty funny. Yeah, Megamind's definitely aged well. I've aged well. It's definitely aged well. You'll be quite emotional when watching Infinity War Endgame. Yeah, although I already know what happens, like because you know Far From Home starts right, like it takes place right after that movie, so. And I did accidentally spoil myself because I was watching this review and they showed this one scene of Spider-Man having this moment with one. I won't say which Avenger, but one of them. And although I guess it wasn't much of a spoiler because Far From Home basically said what happened, so whatever. But yeah. Right, like like Hal himself said there at one point in the movie how just like how there's no Queen of England. And I'm like, the fuck? Like, in the context was that like Deborah was trying to like calm Hal down, like how like Megamind had turned Hal into a hero, but Hal ended up misusing his powers, and so Deborah was trying to calm him down. But, you know, he was like, he just wasn't having any of it. He was like, Deborah was like, please, let me see the Hal I once knew. And Hal was like, it's too late for that. Don't you get it? This is the real world. There are no happy endings, just as there's no Queen of England. And I'm like, oh. Okay. I'm like, okay. Sure, no Queen of England. and this might be a hot take, but Megamind is greater than Despicable Me. Exactly. I thought the same thing. I was thinking the same thing, if I'm going to be honest. Like, I watched this one reviewer I watched this Megamind review, and during this review, he actually said that that he found it hard to compare Megamind and Despicable Me because he thought they were both great. And I'm like, no. Megamind's better, fam. No. Megamind's better. I mean, Despicable Me was good, don't get me wrong. The first one, anyway, not the other two. But the Megamind's just better. I'm sorry, it's just better. It's just better. The writing's just a lot better. But Despicable Me is still good. I feel like he should have said there is no Santa Claus instead. Yeah, that would have been a better line, but then that probably wouldn't have been as funny, so I don't know. Dreamworks logic. But yeah, the humor is pretty funny. Like there's even this one moment where like towards the end of the film, like you think that Minion's going to die, but then you're like, well, but he's a fish. Why don't they just put him in a nearby water fountain? Like his suit might be broken, but he can still live. And then Megamind literally just throws him in the water fountain, and he says, "What a drama queen." That was funny. Like Minion was just being a dick. Like just pretending to be dying, and I'm like, fam, you were so wrong for that. Even the movie was like, see, look at him with his smug little face there, his sneaky little face. That was funny. It would make sense since he was saying there is no Easter Bunny and Tooth Fairy. Yeah, exactly. It would have made more sense. Then again, it probably would have upset a bunch of young kids. Fair point. There's also this one funny part of the movie where, like, Megamind, like there was this museum for Metro Man, and Megamind was like he had set the whole place to blow up, and then but Deborah came at the wrong time, and so he had to quickly like get her out of there. He did have a conversation with her at first about whether or not it was possible to have a new hero for the town. And then Deborah left, and then Megamind was literally standing there, and then he was like, and then he had just gotten this idea that he could create a hero for the town because he apparently had killed Metro Man, and then like while he's talking, like mid sentence, the building blows up, and then he panics and runs away. It was really funny. But yeah, like Megamind's just really funny. I like the movie. It's funny. But yeah, the humor is generally pretty good, and it helps that Will Ferrell is playing the role. So, the role of Megamind, I mean. And Chris Cross, was that his name, Chris Cross? I don't remember, honestly. David Cross, not Chris Cross. I said Chris Cross. But anyway, but yeah, like, they both did a good job as Mega Man and the Minion, respectively. They were both pretty funny. Okay, the animation was great. Like, again, this, as Maple said in the chat, this movie has aged well. The animation is still good looking. Like, it definitely looks good. Like, it's in CGI, of course, and yeah, everything just looks good. I like how the characters look, and I liked how the action scenes were. Really, the whole film just looks very good. The animation and the art style are both good. The city looks generic as hell, though, but everything else looked pretty good. So yeah, there are plenty of great action scenes. but going back to the animation, yeah, like everyone was pretty expressive, and yeah, the film was just very pretty to look at. I liked it. It's aged pretty well, and the action scenes were great too. Plenty of those. Plenty of those. You give Monsters vs. Aliens 7 out of 10, Thomas? Okay, good. I that was my first rating, but then I docked it down to 6. But I'll explain later. Oh, I don't really have to because, you know, I don't know, like, at first I was going to give it a 7 out of 10, but then I was like, no, you know, I don't think the movie is that good. But anyway. But yeah, going back to Megamind, I did like the action scenes. Megamind really knows how to use his mind to use technology to be a threat. Although usually he lost to Metro Man. Usually he would lose to Metro Man at the beginning of the movie, but you know, after he had apparently destroyed Metro Man, he decided to create a hero who ended up becoming a villain, unfortunately. But that just led to more great action scenes, so yay. No, but yeah, oh, but that reminds me, the plot was actually good. I actually liked the plot. I actually liked the plot a lot. Because it takes the whole bad guy turned good trope and uses it in such an interesting and creative way. So it's like, okay, let's have the villain actually win for a change after losing for so long. Like, apparently, like, at first, he had seemingly killed Metro Man, the hero of the city. At first he was happy, but then he was like, you know, without a hero, I feel empty. Like, everything's just boring. It's like I have the city under my control and I have all the money, but fuck, you know, without a hero, like, what's the point of being the villain? And then he decides to create one, which goes wrong. But then that lets him become a hero, and then he stops being evil. Like, he goes from a journey of villain to hero, basically, but in such an unexpected manner. And I just like how the film plays with that trope. And I also like that he formed a romantic connection with Deborah. At first, not as himself. Like, at first he was using a disguise, but then his disguise accidentally, you know, got destroyed during one of their dates, and then that's when he showed her who he really was. And so, but yeah, like, at first Deborah was, like, heartbroken for a number of good reasons. But then, you know, she and Megamind worked together to save the city from the new villain, who was Hal. You know, because who was originally Deborah's, like, Deborah's cameraman. She was is her name Deborah? I hope it's Deborah. I can't even remember. I'm probably wrong. Let me look it up. If I got her name wrong, I'm sorry. Roxanne. It's not Deborah, it's Roxanne. I'm sorry, I couldn't be bothered to learn her name. Roxanne. It's Roxanne. Her name was Roxanne, not Deborah. Oops, lol. But yeah, Roxanne was originally a reporter, and Hal was her cameraman. But then Megamind accidentally turned Hal into a hero, but then he ended up misusing his powers, and so Megamind had to be the hero. So, but really, basically, the plot was pretty good. Like I found it interesting that Roxanne was in a love triangle with Megamind and Hal, although she technically didn't like either of them. Love, I should say. She didn't love either of them. She didn't like Megamind. She was fine. She treated Hal as basically, like, kind of a friend, but but you know, she wasn't interested in him like that, but he liked her. And that led to a bunch of drama, which I thought was pretty good. Oh shit, I clicked on the wrong thing. But yeah, basically the plot's pretty good. And Megamind at the end of the day becomes a hero. Oh, and I also like this. I also like the relationship Megamind has with Minion. Like they really do feel like good friends. They really do feel like good friends. Now Megamind is initially like, you know, he's initially like self-centered and arrogant and shit. But then he like starts to appreciate Minion more and more throughout the film. Like at first, but you know, like Minion at first didn't like that Megamind was turning good because he was spending so much time with Roxanne, and so yeah, that led to some tension between the two. And yeah, as you guys have already figured, the bad guys has a similar trope going on, but I'll get to that later. Anyway, good plot all around. I'm sorry if my thoughts sound disorganized because I'm trying to cover multiple things about the plot. Basically, I just liked how the plot handles all of its characters and tropes. Speaking of the characters were good. I liked the characters. I liked Roxanne. I liked Megamind. I liked Minion. Hell was okay. I'm indifferent towards him. I don't dislike him or like him. He's just, yeah. Metro Man was alright. But yeah, I generally thought the characters were good. Because they were funny and engaging, and they felt like real people, so yeah. Watching the movie recently, I was most impressed by the overall scope of the thing, especially for an animated movie. Yeah, this film is pretty impressive. Okay, Oh, and the voice acting. The voice acting was quite good. I'm surprised I didn't talk much about the voice acting. I'd say for Monsters vs. Aliens, the voice acting was also good too. Well, yeah, I'd say it was good. But yeah, with Megamind, the voice acting was also good. I'd say it was great, even. Again, Will Ferrell's performance was great. So was what was his name? David Cross's performance. And Jonah Hill's performance was good. Yeah, Jonah Hill was in this movie. Yeah, the guy from 21 Jump Street and 22 Jump Street was in this movie. And he was Hal. Metro Man was also good. Really, all the characters were voiced pretty well. Who was Metro Man? Oh, Brad Pitt, right? I forgot. Okay, I think I've covered everything. Negatives? I can't think of very many. I can't really think of very many negatives. Let me just like trying to figure out how to no, let me not do that. Yeah, but I can't really think of very many negatives. I'm trying to, but I just can't really think of any. I don't know, like the film was just that good to me. I can't think of any negatives. Not saying that there aren't any, I just can't really think of any examples. Maybe that Roxanne Ritchie felt like a typical damsel in distress. Yeah. Yeah, I feel like they probably didn't. I guess that's fair. I guess that's fair. I feel like they probably could have just. Then again, like, I guess they just needed a reason for Hal to like call Roxanne out on, her basically ignoring him or shit like that, which is why she was a damsel. She was made into a damsel to begin with. I don't know. I'm trying to picture the film, how the film would have gone if Roxanne hadn't been the damsel in distress. Yeah, maybe the film would have been better if she hadn't been the damsel in distress. Like they still could have like, I feel like they could have like not made it to where, like maybe have her work alongside Megamind instead of just like get kidnapped by Hal and shit or whatever. That probably would have been better. I mean, for a movie that's trying to subvert trope and cliches for these kind of movies, it's kind of a shame they didn't bother trying to change that. That is pretty fair. That is pretty fair, and plus the whole superhero kidnaps damsel because damsel treated superhero like a dick or whatever. Like that's been done already. They could have changed that. I guess I can put that as a negative because that's the only negative I can think of. How do I phrase this though? Maybe like that. The plot could have axed Roxanne as a damsel in distress. Like maybe they could have. Like basically they didn't have to make her the damsel in distress. Maybe if I phrase it like that. You know what? Here, let me do this. Yeah, that is a fair point because see, Roxanne was actually like the movie actually did try to make Roxanne sort of a hero in the first place, like have her figure out where have her figure out like Megamind's hideout and shit like that. Like the movie was trying to make her into some sort of, I guess, Lois Lane or whatever. I don't know, but they didn't go all the way with that. So yeah, let me just do that more. They could have done more with that. I will say that I did love that Welcome to the Jungle entrance that Megamind had near the end of the movie, along with I'm Bad playing at the very end. I like that too. Like, yeah, the ending overall was pretty good. But yeah, Megamind was basically a plot that just subverted expectations and tropes. For the most part. Like they made Roxanne, a damsel. She didn't need to be a damsel. I can understand why they made her one, but they could have like gotten around that. But anyway, that's just me. That's really the only negative I can think of. Really, like, the film's just pretty solid all around. Yeah, I did see a bit of Lois Lane in her. Yeah, Or like basically like MJ from Spider-Man PS4. It did in a way similar to Shrek. It did what? I'm sorry. I'm sorry, but I'm not sure what you're referring to. But I don't know. I must have missed something. But yeah, that's Megamind. Solid film all around. Although they there was just one trope that they didn't subvert that they could have subverted. Like I feel like they probably could have. Like I'm fine with how like trying to hurt Roxanne. I just like they could have just like not made Roxanne the damsel. Like have her work with Megamind, like trying to stop Hal, and then Hal finds her and then targets her instead of just like Hal just targeting her right away. Like, I feel like that probably would have been better and would have been. Like, I feel like that would have helped the film a bit, but anyway. Even MJ in Spider-Man PS4 was more useful and important. Yeah. I feel like that's the best version of MJ. I love that MJ. I actually love that version of MJ. Compared to whatever MJ was in in the first 3 Spider-Man movies. Oh man, that version of MJ was terrible. Oh, a complete cunt. But in the PS4 version, in Spider-Man PS4, MJ's pretty cool. And in the Tom, is it? I'm sorry, I keep forgetting his name. Let me look it up. Yeah, Tom Holland. Okay, in the Tom Holland trilogy, that version of MJ's decent, but I think I like the one from the PS4 game the most. But that's Megamind. Overall, a very good film. Okay, so Rise of the Guardians. Rise of the Guardians. Okay. I already typed up some points here, but yeah, okay, so this film is okay, so basically the plot of this film is that 5 fairy tale creatures come together to stop an evil fairy tale creature from taking over the world with this nightmare. It's like basically scaring children and shit. So the 5 heroes are Santa Claus, the Easter Bunny, the Tooth Fairy, the Sandman, and Jack Frost. And then the villain, his name is Pitch, sorry. No, I did that on purpose. But no, his name is Pitch. He's also known as the Boogeyman. And so he's trying to okay, so the fairy tale creatures, their job is to protect children. To protect them and make them happy. The Boogeyman wants to instill fear in the hearts of children. Like, he basically wants to wipe out whatever happiness they have. Or at least their belief in the fairy tale creatures. And the Jack Frost is a protagonist. So at first he wakes up in some frozen pond somewhere, and then quickly discovers that people don't know that he exists. Like, they literally do not see him. They even face right through him. So for the next 300 or so years, I don't remember the timeline of this movie, like, he's basically a troublemaker, like just causing shit around town to freeze and whatnot. But then he gets called by the other current Guardians to help them save save the children of the world or whatever. At first, Jack Frost doesn't want to do it, but then he learns that the Guardians actually have a way for him to access his memories, because at first he didn't have any. He lost them for some reason. So he agrees to help in the fight against the Boogeyman. But, shit happens along the way. Jack fucks up several times. And the Guardians keep, the Boogeyman just keeps wrecking their shit. And one by one, the children just start to stop believing in all the fairy tale creatures except one, this boy named Jamie, who still believes in all the creatures, and at one point realizes that Jack Frost exists too, and then Jack Frost is like, oh my god, the child can actually see me for once. And so Jack Frost enlists Jamie's help along with Jamie's friends or whatever, and then with their help, the fairy tale creatures get back their power. The Sandman had been killed off at one point. Like, he was killed off at one point and by the Boogeyman, but then he came back to life. I'm guessing it was because of the children's belief in the fairy tale creatures or whatever. But yeah, the Boogeyman, like, literally has the entire city surrounded with this dark magic and shit. But he loses, unsurprisingly. Thanks to the few children who believed in the fairy tale creatures. The fairy tale creatures got back their... I'll just call them Guardians, because that's basically what they are. The Guardians get back their strength, and then they whoop the Boogeyman's ass, and then yay, everyone's saved and shit. And then Jack officially becomes a Guardian or whatever. And then they fly off into the sky, and it's just great. But yeah, like, the film actually has a pretty interesting premise. It's like, okay, why don't we combine all of these fairy tale creatures and then have them all work together to protect the children of the world. I thought that was an interesting idea, and I think it's executed pretty well. I also like the interpretations of all these characters, because, in some stories Jack Frost is pretty evil, I think, but in other stories he's not. So in this one he's actually not evil. He's a mischief maker at first, but then he actually starts using his powers for good. Similar to that monkey character from Kung Fu Panda. It feels like that, except his arc is a lot longer. But anyway, Jack's arc, I mean. But anyway, Santa's actually just a big burly Russian man in this movie. I'm not joking. He is. He's more burly than fat. But yeah, I thought that was a pretty interesting interpretation. The Tooth Fairy, she looks just as you'd think she'd look. I think she's covered in, I don't know what she's covered in, but she wears this, I think, scales or whatever, I don't know, some colorful costume that basically covers her whole body. Like, I think it's just a one-piece suit or whatever, I don't know. She's pretty typical though, like, really nothing stands out about her character. The Easter Bunny actually has an interesting design though. So instead of just making him cute and shit, they decided to give him a kick-ass appearance, like make him tall and muscular and have him wield 2 boomerangs and shit. I actually thought his design was interesting. And there's the Sandman, whose design is alright. Like, just nothing better than the Tooth Fairies, but still nothing too special. So yeah. The animation, it's great. I like it. probably the most impressive one. Like, it's pretty good. I'd say it's amazing, even. I should change this to amazing. Because this is definitely DreamWorks. It's probably the most impressive piece of animation that DreamWorks has made. Not including the Bad Guys. I feel like the Bad Guys is almost up there with Rise of the Guardians. But yeah, like, the animation in this film is really, really good. Especially, like you know, when Jack Frost uses his powers, like the special effects are just really good. At one point, he even draws like a bunny on a wall, on like the window of a house, and it actually comes to life. Like, it actually jumps off the window and flies around. That was actually a pretty good touch. Really, the animation is just so good in this film. I especially like Sandman's animations. They're just so good. How like his sand dances around, and how like it flies above children's heads to give them happy dreams, and then unicorns form around the children's heads and shit. And it's just really nice. I like it. Like, really, animation's very good. Very, very good. Definitely one of DreamWorks' most impressive movies in terms of animation. For you, Monsters vs. Aliens is a 7 and Megamind is an 8. Okay, that's fair. I think that's the same rating I gave Megamind, Thomas. 8.5 out of 10. Nope, 8. Never mind. Oops. I like Zendaya's MJ, but I think it's dumb the way they changed the name to Michelle Jones. Yeah, they could have just kept it as Mary Jane. I guess they just wanted to make they wanted to make her MJ stand out, but changing the name is kind of a dumb way to go about doing it. I mean, I don't know. Like, I feel like, I feel like the writers were like, you know what, we changed her race, let's change her name too. I'm like, you don't really need to do that. Like, I don't know. It's just, no. The Unchained Spectacular Spider-Man was also great. Have I ever seen that one? I don't think I have. Or watched. Was it? I don't know. Anyway. But yeah, great animation. The plot's also good too. It's great. It's just about saving holidays like holidays like Easter and Christmas, and then just helping the Tooth Fairy out because, she has to put money under all the children's beds. Oh, not beds, pillows. The ones who leave behind teeth anyway. So she does that shit like every day. But yeah, really, I thought, as I said, the plot had an interesting idea, and I think it was executed pretty well. With Jack slowly starting to understand what his role in all of this is. Because at first he just doesn't give a shit about any of this, but then over time he starts showing more concern for people, for his fellow guardians, for the children of the world. He starts to realize that this isn't just about him. It's about well, not really all of humankind, but really for really everyone, like the guardians, the children, everyone. And I found it interesting how basically all the guardians had a life before they became guardians, but the only one that we get to see is Jack's. He was part of this ordinary family, but then he accidentally fell into a pond, after a frozen pond after the ice cracked underneath him. And then that's how he got chosen as a guardian. But yeah, I like the plot. I'd say the characters are pretty cool too. I didn't just like the designs. I also like their personalities. Santa Claus is jolly, but he's also a badass. Don't fuck with him. He's pretty strong and fearless. The Easter Bunny's kind of grumpy. But he kicks ass too. And then there's just Sandman, who doesn't say anything. Like, he literally cannot talk. But damn, that guy, don't fuck with him. Do not fuck with him. Like, he seems to be normally... He's normally pretty even-tempered, but don't fuck with him, or you'll get on... Because he kicks ass with the sand. Oh my god, I just love it. And then Tooth Fairy, she's nice. She has a pretty motherly personality. She's nice. She's decent. I like her, but she's not my favorite. My favorite character, I don't know. Jack's also pretty cool too. He has a very playful personality. It's basically the opposite of the Easter Bunny's personality, but I've actually liked their dynamic. And they do become more friendly with each other as the movie goes on. My favorite character, I don't even know. It'll probably be the Sandman. I'm sorry, but he's just... I love him. He's OP. He just kicks ass. They all do, but the Sandman, he's just so good. I love him. I love him. The Boogeyman, he was an interesting character. Although, I don't know. I feel like his character wasn't handled as well as it could have been. Like I feel like the movie was trying to paint him as some misunderstood villain, and he was, but I don't know. I feel like he should have gotten some sort of redemption arc, because I feel like the movie wanted to paint him as some sort of misunderstood villain, but he just gets defeated into oblivion anyway. So it's like, well, not really oblivion. He just goes back under some bed out of nowhere, because that's where the Boogeyman is. He lives under your bed. But whatever. I don't know. I feel like he could have been handled a bit better, but he wasn't a bad character. And the music was pretty good. Oh, and I liked the action scenes. But yeah, the music and the action scenes definitely complemented one another. Oops. Plenty of good action scenes. I need to keep my tenses consistent. But yeah, the music was definitely... There were times where it was calming, and it would play it would just be calm during emotional moments, and other times where it would be absolutely fast and action packed and loud during the action scenes. The music was pretty good overall in this film, and the action scenes, I loved them, especially when there was this one fight with it was between the Boogeyman and the team of Jack Frost and Sandman. Both Sandman and Jack were kicking ass. No joke. They were just... Especially Sandman. Holy shit. Don't fuck with him. Don't fuck with my boy Sandman. He is too OP. Please, nerf. But then he gets seemingly killed at one point in the story. And then just gets revived. Almost without explanation, but whatever. But yeah, overall, I did like the presentation of the movie. I thought, the voice acting. Voice acting's also pretty good. I can't really think of a bad performance. All the voice actors did a good job. Yeah, everyone did a pretty good job. I actually liked the performance of Santa Claus. I liked his performance. I think I liked his the most, along with the Easter Bunnies. I don't know. I just love their accents, because the Easter Bunny speaks in an Australian accent. At least I think it's Australian. It's either Australian or British, but I think it's Australian. And Santa Claus speaks with a Russian accent, and he even talks like a Russian too, because you know how Russian speakers, sometimes they don't put in the words a, and, or the in their speech, because Russian doesn't have articles like that. Like, it definitely added to the authenticity of Santa Claus's accent. But anyway, but yeah, the movie was overall pretty solid. Although I will say that the humor was a bit lacking. Like, the movie doesn't have too many jokes. It has some, but I feel like some of them hit the mark, but some of them don't. Like, there are only a few moments that made me laugh. Like, the humor could have been a bit better. Although, to be fair, it wasn't trying to be super funny in the first place, but yeah, like, the humor, like, the jokes that it did have could have been a bit better. But that's really... But that's really all I can say. Oh! Oh, hold up. Bongo Whale? Ezekiel, is that you? Is that you or is it Stephanie? I can't tell. I can't tell. Because Stephanie has that account, so I don't know. Oh, so Hugh Jackman voiced the Easter Bunny. Oh, that's right, he did. He did. I remember seeing his name in the credits. But yeah, the humor could have been a bit better. Some of the jokes were funny, but some of them were not. Like, yeah. But it didn't actually hurt the movie too much, because overall the movie was still pretty good. This movie was a box office bomb when it first came to theaters. Yeah, that's what I've heard. It just didn't do well. As well as DreamWorks was hoping. Like, here, let me look up the numbers really fast. So it had a budget of $145 million, and in the box office, it made $306.9 million in the box office. I mean, it was technically successful, but you know, apparently it has. Ooh. On Metacritic, it has a score of 58, I think. What about Rotten Tomatoes? Rotten Tomatoes has 74% approval rating of 74%, so that's good. But Metacritic, not so much. Oh, I see. So Rise of the Guardians grossed $103.4 million in the United States and Canada, and $203.5 million in other countries. Yeah, that is not that good. This movie could have been more successful if people hadn't confused it for the other animated Guardians movie. If they still didn't confuse it today, yeah. I bet that there are people who still confuse the two movies, conflate the two. Well, that's sad, because this movie is actually good. It just didn't do as well as. It just didn't do as well as DreamWorks was hoping. Sad face. I feel like there was one more thing I was going to say, but I cannot remember what it was. Oh, and apparently, according to Wikipedia, this film lost an estimated $87 million due to marketing and distribution costs. So, yeah, this film did not make a lot of money, unfortunately. Like, it did make more than its budget, unlike Mulan 2020. Damn, that one sucked. But, and not just because of the movie's quality. It was, it was also because of other things like COVID. But anyway, but yeah, like, But yeah, this film, unfortunately, it just didn't do as well as DreamWorks had hoped. But overall, it's still a solid film. Still a solid film. I actually liked it. I was kind of when I first started watching it, I was expecting it to be a little. I was expecting it to be like, you know, just basic and shit, but no, it actually enjoyed the movie from start to finish. Oh yeah, apparently there was a. I think this film was based on a book series. Yeah, it was based on a book series called The Guardians of Childhood and The Man in the Mood, neither of which I had read when I started watching this movie, so I can't comment on those. Oh yeah, and by the way, fun fact, Shrek also had a book. Though I'm sure you guys know this already, but for those of you who don't, yeah. Apparently, Shrek had a book. And to think it ended up becoming a movie, wow. And what else? Oh yeah, The Bad Guys also has a book series that's still going on. That's like, it's still a thing to this day. It's still a thing. Like, books are still being released for The Bad Guys, but I haven't read any of them, so I'm not going to comment on the books. Although, what I do know about the books for The Bad Guys is that, like, the characters have different, the premise is very different. Like, for one thing, there are no humans in the world of the bad guys. Like, in the books, like, there are no humans. And the personalities of the characters, I think they're different. Like, Mr. Wolf, like, well, for one thing, like, none of the characters are actually criminals. Like, they try to be good guys, but they keep fucking up. Like, Mr. Wolf has a very different personality in the books than in the movie. So, yeah, DreamWorks, you know DreamWorks, they like to adapt books and whatnot. Legend of the Guardians, the Owls of Ga'Hoole was also based on a book series of the same name. Oh, huh. You remember seeing the commercials for this movie, but you didn't see it because you went to see Wreck-It Ralph instead. I need to watch Wreck-It Ralph. I do need to watch that. And Ralph Breaks the Internet. Because I know people love the first one, but hate the second. And I want to see why. So I can tear into the second, if I end up hating it. If I don't end up hating it, I won't tear into it. Because I liked Spider-Man 3, even though it's the worst one out of the trilogy. I still liked it. Although I was still able to admit that it had flaws. But anyway. But yeah, I digress. Overall, Rise of the Guardians was a good film. The Bad Guys. Ooh, yay! The Bad Guys. Ooh, I've been waiting to talk about this one, especially since I rewatched it today. So that would be like 3 times that I've watched it. It's just that good. I like the movie. Although I'm probably not going to rewatch it after this point. I feel like the first time was enough, but I just couldn't help myself. The Bad Guys. Ooh, yes. I love The Bad Guys. Okay, like, this movie is just so amazing. Oh, I love it. I love it so much. Oh my god. This is DreamWorks' most recent release, and oh man, they knocked it out of the park with this one. Everyone loved this film. Everyone loved it, including furries, which isn't surprising because this film has quite a bit of fur bait. Unintentionally, but it has quite a bit of fur bait, particularly with Wolf and Diane. Seriously, don't look up online fan art of those two. And of Mr. Snake. Just don't. Trust me, don't. Just fucking don't. Anyway, because I came across it by accident at one point, and I was like, Wow, okay, you all have some really vivid imaginations. But yeah. But yeah, this film was just great. I loved it. It's basically like the DreamWorks version of Zootopia, basically. So it's like Suicide Squad plus Zootopia, I guess you could think of it like that. Sort of. When it comes to themes, anyway. I don't know. I know Wreck-It Ralph 2 has his fans, but I'm certainly not one of them. Oh shit, I really want to watch it now. I really want to watch it now. Oh man. Oh man, when I get the time, I'll watch it on Disney Plus. Both movies. But yeah, the bad guys, great. First pause of this movie, Diane Foxyton. Just Diane Foxyton, right? I love her. I love all the characters. The characters were great. They were amazing. I loved them. Well, actually, let me change it from amazing to great, because there are some that I just didn't care for. But overall, the characters were great. I can't name a single bad character in this film. They're all just good. I liked Wolf. I liked Snake. I liked Diane. I liked the police chief. I liked Mr. Marmalade. I liked Webbs. I didn't like Piranha. I'm sorry. I just don't fucking like that character. I don't like him. I think he's just one big walking Hispanic stereotype. I don't like him. But Shark, he was okay. So it's like most of the characters I like. One I don't like, but most of them I like. Tiffany Fluff, she was okay. I'm trying to think of any other characters I didn't cover. I think that's all of them. Yeah, I think that's all of them. But yeah, they're all pretty funny and likable and memorable. I just didn't like the Piranha character. My cousin Stephanie liked the Piranha character. I did not. I was like, I don't like him. He's annoying. She's basically like the exact definition of I'm not a furry, but right. Just watch Saber Sparks' review of the bad guys. That's basically how he feels towards her. He was like, Diane is so cute. Oh my god, she is bae. Not that I'm a furry or anything, but like Saber Spark was literally saying that in his review. It was funny. He literally said that. Oh, hi, Bluey. But yeah, Diane's actually a great character. Mr. Wolf as well. Mr. Wolf was probably my favorite character. I actually liked him a lot. Really, like, most of the characters are pretty good. I wouldn't say Piranha's a bad character. He's just not my cup of tea. I just don't like his ass. Oh, I commented on the Tarantula character, Webbs, Miss Tarantula. I liked her. She didn't have a lot of lines, but from the little screen time she had, she was a decent character. And plus, it helps that all these characters, Diane, Wolf, Piranha, Snake, Shark, Webbs, even the police chief, they're all talented when it comes to singing, playing instruments, or dancing. Like, they're all talented. I'm like, y'all be killing it. You all killing it at that party. Like, you all killed it. Like, really, yeah, they're all just talented. And I'm like, I wish I were that talented. When it comes to singing and dancing, anyway. And playing instruments. Because, like I had piano lessons in the past, but I never made it past the very basics, so oh well. But yeah, really, these characters they're just great. I love them. I love them all. Most of them. Okay, the humor the humor was just great. I loved it. Like This movie made me laugh a lot. There were so many funny moments in the movie, so many. Like, like this one part where where Mr. Marmalade was like, he was trying to teach the bad guys how to be good, and there was this cat in this tree, and he wanted the bad guys to save the cat, but instead of saving the cat, the bad guys literally just scared away up the tree even more, and it was really funny. I'm like, y'all are dumb. But it was funny. No, there are also funny moments too. Like like there's another exercise that Mr. Marmalade has the bad guys do, where Wolf has to pretend to be this old lady crossing the street, and Piranha has to walk him across the street, but Piranha gets distracted while crossing the street, and then Wolf gets hit by a bus, and then flies up into the air, and then falls right back down on the ground hard. That was funny. And there's also this one part where, okay, so after the bad guys yet again fuck up another exercise that Mr. Marmalade had them do, like, Diane's like, you know what, fuck this experiment's over, I'm calling the police chief. And then Mr. Wolf tries to talk to her and smooth talk to her, but then she's like, nah, bitch, don't try that George Clooney shit on me. We ain't doing that shit. And then Wolf's like, oh, come on, but we've changed. We've really changed. And then Diane's like, don't you ever get tired of lying? And then Wolf says no. And then he's like, wait, no, fudge, that was a trick question, wasn't it? Like, he answered honestly, and it was so funny. Like, I'm like, wow, Freudian slip much? Oh, and there's another funny moment where Diane okay, so like the bad guys were playing this heist. They were trying to steal the golden dolphin or whatever at this event, and Mr. Wolf was speaking to the mayor to get something from her. He wanted to take a picture of her so that he could use the picture to get past the scanner to the vault that led to the dolphin. So at one point he's about to take a picture with her, and before that point they were talking about a sculpture nearby. Mr. Wolf says that it's trash, but then Diane's like, no, it's a matter of perspective, because if you look at it from a different angle, you can see that even trash can have some beauty to it. Like, it can be recycled into some sort of beauty. And then Wolf is about to take a picture with Diane, and then he's like, well, can I have a picture with the governor? And and then he says something about, like, I'm trying to remember exactly what he said. Fuck, I can't remember. What did he say? Something about taking a picture with the governor and a pile of garbage, and then Diane's like, oh, now, don't say that. You shouldn't be so hard on yourself. So he basically just, like, shaded him indirectly by implying he was a pile of trash. It was funny. And it took him a second to get it, too. He was like, hey! That was funny, too. But yeah, plenty of funny moments like that in the movie. Basically, the humor was just great all around. Let's see, what else? Okay, so we talked about the characters and the humor. The voice acting was pretty good. Everyone's performances were good. Some are great, others were good. But yeah, like, I think Sam Rockwell did a good job as Mr. Wolf. Made him definitely sound like a smooth talker. Like, cause Mr. Wolf's like, I probably should have explained the bad guys' personalities. So like, there are 5 members. You have Mr. Wolf, who's the brains of the group, like the leader, the smooth talker, the con artist, whatever, the one who comes up with the plans. And then you have Snake, Mr. Snake, whatever. I'll just call them Wolf, Snake, whatever. Snake. He's the one who's really good at cracking safes. And then you have Webbs, Miss Tarantula, whatever, who's really good at hacking, like very, very good at hacking. It's just very impressive the way she does it. And then you have Piranha, who can basically beat up pretty much anyone despite being so small. And then you have Shark, who's a master of disguise. So he's really good at putting on disguises to fool people. Although, if I'm going to be honest, his disguises are very, very bad. Very bad. But see, the thing is that the humans in this world are very fucking stupid. They're very, very fucking stupid. Because, see, the bad guys, they all wear disguises, but it's like, they're the only animals in town, so how do people, like, not see right through the disguises? It, like, okay. Like, at one point, no joke, at one point, while the bad guys are infiltrating this facility to rescue a bunch of guinea pigs for Mr. Marmalade, who's also a guinea pig himself. I don't know why that... I'll explain that later. Like, one of the scientists, like, Shark, like, infiltrates the facilities pretending to be one of the scientists, and he literally fools the scientist into thinking that he's his dad. And I'm like, wow, the humans in this world are really fucking stupid. Not that that's a bad thing, though. Like, it's not bad. I'm not saying I'm not saying that that's a flaw of the movie, because it's fine. Like, I'm not saying that everything in fiction has to make sense. As long as it doesn't hurt the story, then it's fine for things to not make sense. And it works. Like, it works. Although, really, if I'm going to be honest, the gang overall, the bad guys, they all kind of suck. Even the movie itself knows this as well, so it's not just me. Like, they kind of suck. Because, really, the only reason they do so well is that everyone in the town is just really stupid. Even the police chief, who just can't see past the disguises for some reason. She can't see past those disguises. I don't know why. She just can't. But, like, that and it's like, it's just like, they really shouldn't get away with the shit they do, but they do because the police force is just that incompetent in the town. Now, Diane Foxington, who was a former thief, aka the Crimson Paw, now she's actually a good thief. Like, she's better than all the bad guys put together. She's just better than all of them put together by far. And she's even like, man, these guys suck. Like, unsecured exits, compulsive showboating, like, crude disguises. Man, these guys are just not good criminals. Like, she's just shading them, and it's really funny. And I mean, I'm like, she's not wrong, fam. She's not wrong. But yeah, like, that's basically how the bad guys are. Basically, criminals that at one point get arrested due to a mishap, just when they were about to cement their legacy as the world's greatest criminals by stealing a trophy from the Golden Dolphin from an event. It was supposed to be a reward for Mr. Marmalade because he was a good Samaritan or whatever, but anyway. But yeah, like, basically the bad guys are Suicide Squad, Dreamworks edition. So it's like they're all criminals who are going to be used for good. So, and again, this trope isn't exactly anything new, but the bad guys has a unique take on it, which is fine. Like, it's okay to have common ideas in your story as long as you use them in a unique way. You can remix old things to make new things. Like, stories do it all the time. Like, the bad guys itself isn't... It actually borrows quite a bit. Like, some people have even said that they get Lupin the Third vibes from it, which I can't comment on because I've never read that manga or watched any of the series, but people have gotten some vibes from that. And again, it's kind of like Suicide Squad. And DreamWorks, this isn't the first time DreamWorks has done the whole bad guy turn good kind of trope thing, so the bad guys isn't super original, but the way it combines all these common ideas, now that's original. Like, I just like the story so much, like the plot itself. I thought it was great. Now, it's pretty predictable, if I'm going to be honest. Like, really, if you watch the movie, you can predict most of the twists coming from a mile away. Although you might not know exactly how the twists will happen, you know that they're coming. But again, that's fine. It's okay for a story to have predictable elements. Like, not everything has to be unpredictable. As long as the film isn't too damn predictable, then it's fine. But, really, the predictability doesn't hurt the plot. But yeah, I thought the plot was interesting. With Mr. Wolf, the basically the most duplicitous of the entire group. Actually, he's the one who actually ends up being the first to change for the better. Like, it's just ironic. Like, the most duplicitous guy in the group ends up becoming the first to change, which causes tensions between him and his friends because he wants to be good, but you know, his friends still want to be bad, so he's just torn between the two sides. And at one point, this dilemma causes him to like fail. He and his friends are like planning to like steal something right from the meteorite. That a meteorite landed in the city at one point. So the bad guys are trying to steal it from this charity event later in the story. Well, like Wolf was going to go through with it, but then he decided not to at the last minute, despite all the work the bad guys put into the plan. But then the meteorite still gets stolen, but not by Wolf and his gang, but by Mr. Marmalade. And I'm sure you guys saw that he was the villain from a mile away, but whatever. So the bad guys get arrested. Mr. Marmalade like goes back to his hideout or whatever, and then in the prison the fight breaks out between Wolf and Snake after Snake calls Wolf out on his wanting to be good, and Wolf is like, okay, yeah, maybe I do want to be good. What's wrong with that, bitch? I'm tired of being bad. Fuck it, I want to be good. Oh, and Snake's like, oh, so you think we're just holding you back, huh? And then Wolf's like, yeah, bitch, you are. And then they fight. They don't say it like that, obviously, but they fight, and then they get rescued by Diane, and, you know, they all work together to stop Marmalade, and then the day is saved and shit. I could go further into the plot, but I'm not going to bother to. But yeah, the plot was pretty great overall, even if it was pretty predictable. Yeah, the animation. Yeah, that's another thing about the animation. The animation was very, very good. I loved it. Like, it basically did what Into the Spider-Verse did. A combination of 2D and 3D animation, which is not really easy to pull off, but DreamWorks did it pretty well. And I loved it. I just loved the art style. I love the animation. I just love it. It's just so very good. It just gives me Into the Spider-Verse vibes, and it's just wonderful to look at. It's just wonderful. And DreamWorks is going to use a similar style with the new Puss in Boots movie that's coming up. So I can't wait to see how that one turns out. But yeah, the animation's really, really good. Like, everything is just very colorful and expressive and fluid. Like, really, they combine the 2D and 3D elements so well. Like, it's just so good looking. I love it. I love it. I just love it. Like, especially all the goofy expressions that the characters make. Like, it's just so good. They're just so good. Such a solid piece of work. Yeah, the new Puss in Boots movie seems to be... It seems that it's going to have a similar art style, so... Ooh, I can't wait for that. But yeah, really solid animation. Really good. Like, I was blown away by it the first time I saw it. I was like, how is this animation so good? Oh man, it's so good. DreamWorks learned from Sony. They learned from Sony. Which is funny because at first Sony, like, when... because, like, Sony had a pretty poor start with Open Season, and then they ended up with Into the Spider-Verse, which was great. And then then Dreamworks was like, hey, why can't we do something like that? And they did, and it worked. So Sony went from being the chumps to the masters of animation. And DreamWorks followed suit. Although I wouldn't say DreamWorks has been like, I don't think they've ever been bad at animation. Although some movies are better than others in that regard. But yeah, they certainly did learn. So really, it's just the animation is just so good. I love it. Anything else? I feel like I'm missing something. I've talked about the voice acting, plot, humor, animation, characters. I think I've talked about everything here. Oh, the action scenes. Oh yes, action scenes. Good action scenes. Like the car chases with Wolf and the gang. The heist they pulled off. Though, like, really, I just love the action scenes. Oh, and Diane, Diane just beating up all the security guards in the prison. Oh, that was so good. It was funny, too. Like, she was just owning their asses. I even knocked out 2 of the guards with a shoe. And I'm like, fam, now you're just being extra. But yeah, plenty of good action scenes. Plenty of them. Oh man, this movie is just very, very good. Very, very good. One of the few movies I rewatched. Although, to be honest, I feel like I wouldn't say I'd rewatch it as much as, say, Toy Story 2. Now that one I watched more times than I could count. But this one I really watched it only 3 times. But still very good movie. Still very, very good movie. Okay, so the characters were great, the humor was great, the voice acting was good, the plot was great, the animation was very good, and there were good action scenes. Negatives, I can think of one. Honestly, out of everyone in the... Oh, fuck it. Let me type it like this. Wolf and Snake are the only characters that matter in the bad guys. I'm just gonna be upfront about this. I'm sorry. It's just they're really the only ones that matter in terms of plot. Like really the movie is just about their conflict. The other 3 characters, Shark, Piranha, and Webbs, they're kind of just there. Like, they're not bad characters, although I don't like Piranha, but they're just kind of there. Like, they just... Like, they don't really say much, especially Tarantula. I feel like she has the least, the smallest number of lines in the show. But I said show, I meant movie. But, like, really, those 3 are just kind of there. They really weren't all that plot relevant. It was more about Wolf and Snake's conflict, with Snake wanting to stay bad and Wolf wanting to be good. Like, it's really just about their conflict and about their relationship. The other 3 are just kind of along for the ride. I guess more focused on those 3 would have helped the film a bit. And what I also don't like is that there was this one part of the film where Snake actually does something nice for once. Like, he after escaping... What the hell? Sorry, I thought... What the hell was that? Is that my phone? Okay, well, anyway. So, after Diane helped everyone escape from the prison, Wolf... Snake, Shark, Tarantula, and Piranha... They leave Wolf and Diane behind because they're still pissed about what Wolf did. So they head back to the lair, but all their stuff got taken away because Wolf told Diane where everything was, just to prove that it wasn't him who stole and his friends who stole the meteorite. But anyway, they all lost their shit, and Snake opened up the fridge. Shark was crying over not having his disguises, so Snake gave him the popsicle treat or whatever, something that he had a hard time doing at the beginning of the movie, and then the others point out to Snake that he actually did something good, and that they probably could be better as good people instead of just villains all the time. And then they all actually start to get this little wagging feeling that Wolf had when he did something nice at the beginning of the movie, when he prevented an old lady from falling down the stairs, although it was really Marmalade in disguise, but whatever. Wolf got this feeling this feeling that made him wag his tail because he actually did something good for once, and it made him feel good. And so the other characters, they were now experiencing that. Although the reason I say this is problematic is because Wolf and Snake are literally the only ones that do anything good in the movie. The others don't. Like Wolf, he prevents an old lady from falling down the stairs, and he also saves that cat from the tree, which Marmalade filmed and it became a viral video, but whatever. And Snake, gives Shark a popsicle treat to cheer him up. So like Wolf and Snake both did good things, but the other three technically didn't do anything. Yet they get this wagging feeling too, and I'm just like, why do you guys have that? Because you guys didn't do anything. Literally, Wolf and Snake are the only ones who actually did anything good. So it just made no sense that the other three would start to have that tingly feeling of goodness in them. It just didn't make any sense to me, which just further shows that they really didn't have much of a presence in the film. I feel like they could have been fleshed out more in that regard. Like show all of them doing good things, not just two of them. It's kind of just proves my point further that Wolf and Snake are really the only ones that actually matter in the plot. Unfortunately, like I'm sorry, I don't want to be mean, but those other three characters just don't fucking matter all that much. Like, I need to turn this TV off. Hang on, I'm just wasting electricity. Anyway, but yeah, they just don't fucking matter. Like, I mean, I don't want to. I want them to be involved in the plot more, but that didn't happen. So I feel like maybe they could have just been written out and just have it focused on Wolf and Snake. But then again, the movie that would have required like writing some important parts of the movie. So it's like a catch-22. Really, all they just needed was more screen time. That would have helped. Another thing that really. This is a minor complaint, but it makes no fucking sense because it kind of contradicts Diane's claim that she's the greatest thief in the world. Sorry, like my fucking internet. Fucking hell, my internet. Like, I think we're good now. Sorry, like my internet just went out for a moment. I'll be right back, though. Hold on. Okay. Okay. Yeah, exactly. Like that's the thing. Like the three side characters, you know, Shark, Tarantula, and Webs. I said Tarantula, Webs. Shark, Piranha, and Webs. They weren't that important, but they were still entertaining. Yeah, I admit that they were entertaining. Like I don't want them to be written out of the plot, but it's like they really didn't fucking matter all that much. But at least they were entertaining, so that's important. Like, if they hadn't been entertaining, then I would have wanted them written right out of the plot. So at least they were entertaining. So there's that. They were entertaining. Their voice acting was fine. They just didn't matter very much. They needed more focus. Although, I feel like that's the issue with films in general. Something that just can't be helped, where you have like quite a number of characters, but you can't really develop all of them, like flesh out all of them enough, and then like it's just hard to squeeze like just to like flesh out all the characters in like what, a 2-hour film at most. Like I feel like that's a challenge that a lot of writers have, where you have plenty of characters, but you just can't flesh out all of them. And Kanto had that problem, but like it was only a minor problem because the film was still great, and it's the same thing here. Despite having some characters that weren't fleshed out, The Bad Guys was still a great film. And another thing, going back to what I was saying earlier, so Diane had just made it to the prison, and after she had beaten up all the police guards so that she could rescue Wolf and the others, the bitch literally unmasks herself. Like, she was wearing a hood that concealed her face. The bitch literally unmasks herself, like, right in front of everyone. Like, just so she could show the Wolf and the others, oh, hey guys, it's me, Diane. Like, bitch, you were in a maximum security prison, and you literally unmasked yourself right then and there, just to show everyone that it was you who was rescuing them. Why the fuck would you do that? I thought you were the greatest thief ever. Like, and you go and do something that stupid? Like, it just doesn't make any sense. Like, fam, there are cameras in the building. Like, there were cameras, and there were witnesses. Yeah, you beat up all those security guards, but not all of them were knocked unconscious, so you literally just showed them all that you were the Crimson Paw. No. Because, like, yeah, you could destroy the camera footage, sure, with Webb's abilities, but, like, there are people that saw you unmask yourself. So, oops. Like, you should have waited until after you left the prison to unmask yourself. That would have made more sense, but I don't know, like, that's just, I feel like that was an oversight on the writer's part, where it's like, oh shit, wow, we really should have waited until she was out of the prison to unmask herself, because it makes no sense for her to do it right there, especially since she had claimed to be the greatest thief ever. And I'm like, I'm having second doubts. Sorry, my internet fucked me over again. Good thing I'm almost done with this Rantstream. Though I guess my internet couldn't wait. Either it's my internet or OBS, I don't know. But yeah, basically, the writers should have had Diane unmask herself outside of the prison and not in the prison. Right, exactly. Thank you, Maple. That's exactly what I was thinking. It's like, you got, yeah, she could have just whispered to everyone, "It's me, Diane. I'll get you guys out of here." And then leave the prison with everyone and then unmask herself. But no, she literally just unmasks herself right in front of everyone. I'm like, you dumb bitch. Oh my god. Oh my god. Like, she didn't knock out all the security guards. I can tell. Because some of them were just knocked down. Some of them were knocked out, but some of them were knocked down. And I'm like, fam, they literally saw you. They literally saw you unmask yourself. And I'm surprised that they don't, like, those guards don't mention it again. But again, you know, just a bit of fault in the writing there. It's like even if you could argue that that Webbs could destroy the security camera footage, like, that still doesn't change the fact that there were witnesses there. But I don't know, just whatever. Like, I'm sorry, it was just stupid. It's a minor complaint, but it's just, I just find it so stupid because, like, Diane, you said you were the best thief in the world, and you literally just went and did the dumbest thing possible. Like, come on, fam. Like, come on, fam. Come on, fam. Work with that idea, not against it. But yeah, those are really the only two complaints I have for the film. Are there any others? I can't think of any. I don't know. I just can't really think of any. Like, again, the world building doesn't really make a lot of sense. Like, again, you have, like, why is it that like Mr. Marmalade, who was a guinea pig, can talk, but like the other guinea pigs in the movie who were like undergoing some sort of testing in a lab, why couldn't they talk or walk or anything like that? And why is it that like Mr. Wolf can talk, but the cat he rescued from a tree can't? It doesn't make a lot of sense. But again, that's okay. Like, that's okay. I'm like, not everything in fiction has to make sense. Sometimes the lack of logic in world building is part of the world building, and it works here. Like, the movie doesn't explain how any of this shit works, but it doesn't have to, because again, it's just fiction. And sometimes you need to bend the rules of logic in fiction to make a story work. So yeah. So yeah, like, the world of bad guys doesn't make a lot of sense. The humans are just too stupid to see past the crude disguises that the bad guys wear, and for some reason some of the animals in the bad guys world can talk and some of them can't. But actually, no, that actually that's not necessarily an issue, because there are other shows that do that. But the thing is that, like, Mr. Marmalade's a guinea pig, but he can talk, but the other guinea pigs can't. So it's like, okay, so, like, why? But, you know, then again, Disney does the same thing with Pluto and Goofy, so, you know, it's like, yeah, it doesn't make sense, but who cares? Like, because again, it's fiction. Not everything has to make sense. But yeah, like, really, those are the only two negatives I can think of. The Bad Guys is just overall a really good film. I just love it. Another thing that I found interesting about the plot of the film is that the film's message is basically like, you don't. I like the moral of the film. Let me just say that. Let me add that as a positive. The moral of the film was good. It was. Because the moral of the film was basically this. Even if people judge you, you know, they misjudge you or stereotype you or whatever, or treat you as maybe even a villain, that doesn't mean you have to, like, listen to them. You don't have to, like, become those labels, those things that they say you are. You can write your own story. You can be the person you want to be, not the person everyone thinks you are. And I thought that was a very good lesson that the film taught. And I like how the film is basically saying that you don't have to completely change your personality, just that, you don't have to let other people define you. Because, even though the bad guys had turned good at the end, like, they were still basically tricksters. They just weren't breaking any laws. They just wouldn't break any laws from that point on. Oh, I forgot to mention, so there's a short film called, I forgot what it was called, Maraschino Ruby. Like, there's a short film where, like, I don't remember exactly how long it was after the film. Like, sometime after the film, like the police chief sent a newspaper that like she's still not trusting of the bad guys, so she said in the paper that there's this ruby, but it's safe from those stupid guys or whatever. Like, whatever. Like, she said something pretty nasty about them. The bad guys didn't like that, so they went to go and have a little fun with her. But before they can do that, like, actually no. Okay, well, so they get arrested at one point because apparently the police thought that Snake had stolen a popsicle treat from the convenience store, but I mean, later in the police station there's a receipt, like Shark, who, like, he had disguised himself as a defense attorney, and he showed proof of purchase for Snake's popsicle treat, which makes me wonder why that wasn't presented earlier, but whatever. Anyway, but yeah, like sometime during this whole ordeal, the bad guys, like, they apparently steal the ruby from the museum, but technically it wasn't even the real ruby. It was a fake ruby that the police chief put there, and she had the real ruby with her. So she was trying to trick the bad guys into stealing a fake ruby, but they were onto her. I don't know how they figured it out, but they were onto her, and they stole the real ruby from her and put it back in the museum, and then took the fake ruby and, like, okay, so what they did was, like, they took Snake's popsicle treat, swapped it out with the ruby that the police chief had in their pocket, put the real ruby back in the museum, then took the candy ruby for themselves. So, like, they broke in and stole something, but they didn't technically, like, break the law or anything. Like, they didn't, like, I mean, granted, they did break and enter into a facility, but they didn't steal anything, basically. Like, so it's like they used their powers, but just to play around, not to, like, to do any sort of heist or anything. They were just basically fucking with the police chief, and yeah, and then Snake eats the candy ruby, and then they all drive off, and the police chief realizes what they all did and gets pissed at them. Oh, but yeah, like. But she does end up taking back her statement from that she sent in the newspaper about the bad guys or whatever. But yeah, basically the bad guys, like, pulled in a switcheroo on her. It's like, we'll put the real ruby back in the museum and then take the fake ruby for ourselves, and you can keep the popsicle treat that Snake bought or whatever. So yeah. And you can watch this online. Like, it's on the DVD as well, but you can watch it online. As well as the deleted scenes. You can watch those online too. Like before like, the funny thing is that, like, before I bought the DVD, the Blu-ray, it was not even DVD, Blu-ray in 4K. Like, I'd already watched the short and the deleted scenes online. You can do that for pretty much any Dreamworks film, I think. But I was like, let me just grab the DVD or whatever, because I love the movie that much. And yeah, I have a digital. I have the digital version as well. Like, most of the movies I bought came with digital codes, because why the fuck not? Like, because sometimes I just found it more convenient to watch movies from my computer. But I digress. But basically, like. That's basically the short film. Basically, the bad guys pull a prank on the police chief but they technically don't, steal anything valuable. They steal, but really just as part of a prank. It was a good short, and yeah, that's really all I had to say about it. Oh yeah, and Megamind also had a short film as well. I like that one. It was about Megamind selling all of his evil stuff because he was good. So he was like, I don't need all this stuff anymore. Let me sell it, which was a bad idea. But that actually wasn't the conflict that in the episode. The conflict was that he accidentally set off one of his old inventions, which was a giant robot that had his personality, and Megamind had to he needed minions' help to destroy it. And fortunately they do destroy it. So, but yeah, that one was funny. It was a decent one. I liked it. So yeah, 2 good short films. I didn't get to watch the Bob's Big Break or whatever for Monsters vs. Aliens. I didn't get to watch that short film. But that's okay. Because I would have watched it if I had known it. If I had known it existed. Because I literally just watched only the movie and then didn't touch anything else. I except for the deleted scenes. But that's okay. But yeah, The Bad Guys, overall solid movie. So, conclusions? Yeah, that Bob short comes with the DVD, Blu-ray, whatever. I haven't watched it. I need to go and watch it, but I'll watch it later. But yeah, these movies are generally good. The Bad Guys impressed me the most. I think it's just the best one out of all of these, whereas Monsters vs. Aliens is, I'd say it's the weakest one. In my opinion. I mean, they're overall solid films, though. They all work. In my last Rantstream, the B movie was just the only one holding everyone back, holding all the others back. And the next DreamWorks stream I'm gonna do is gonna cover Ants, Shark Tale, and the 2 Boss Baby movies. So the first Boss Baby movie and then the Boss Baby Family Business. I had those movies, I just haven't gotten around to watching them. Although I did watch Shark Tale once in the past, and I remember some of the plot, but not all of it. But I've never watched the other 3. So I think that one's gonna be probably gonna be very negative, because people just don't seem to like Shark Tale or the Boss Baby movies. Ants, I think people find that one decent. I don't remember, but my cousin likes that one, but she doesn't like the first Boss Baby movie. But yeah, we'll see. I have to rewatch Shark Tale and then watch the other 3. But that's for next time. And I'm still gonna do a Toy Story Rantstream as well. I need to get around to doing that, because I want to rewatch those movies. It's gonna be fun rewatching them. Lightyear I'm not looking forward to, but I'll try to be optimistic. I'm not gonna try to watch every DreamWorks movie though. Not now, because there are a lot of them, and I've covered probably more than half of them, but I'm not gonna try to cover every single one, because there are just some that I really do not care about, like Turbo or the Croods. I don't care about those. I know they exist. I don't care about them. Mr. Peabody and Sherman I'm interested in. The Captain Underpants movie, I remember watching that one, that one was nice, but I don't remember too much of the plot. And I didn't even finish reading all the books as a kid, so. But yeah, I think I'll just after the next 4 DreamWorks movies, I think I'm just gonna take a break from DreamWorks. Oh yes, but I do plan on covering the last 3 Illumination movies. There are 3 more that I haven't covered: Hop, The Lorax, and The Grinch. I've heard bad things about all of them, but I will watch them myself and see if these criticisms are founded or not. Because who knows, I might end up liking them. I mean, I liked Spider-Man 3, despite that being a hot mess, objectively speaking. So, yeah. But anyway, back to my ratings for these movies. Monsters vs. Aliens gets a 6 out of 10 for me. Anything less than 6 wouldn't be fair, in my opinion. Megamind gets an 8 out of 10. I might alter these a bit, but why did I even? Let me change this to 8.5. I guess this one can get a. That one can stay at 6. This one can be a 9.5. Yeah, there we go. Okay. Maybe that one should be a 6.5. I don't know. I feel like I'm so indecisive. No, 6. 6 is fine. Okay, so for me, Monsters vs. Aliens gets a 6 out of 10. Megamind gets an 8.5 out of 10. Rise of the Guardians gets an 8.5 out of 10. And The Bad Guys gets a 9.5 out of 10. So those are my rankings. And those are how I'd rate the movies. Again, overall solid. With The Bad Guys just knocking it right out of the park for me. I just love it. I love it. I love it. So good. Give that one a 6.5, you coward. I remember liking Shark Tale as a kid, but looking back on it now, yeah, it's pretty shit. I'm probably going to say the same thing when I rewatch it. Oh, Tobey Maguire was the narrator of The Boss Baby? Oh, okay. Yeah, Shark Tale had a fish that was voiced by Angelina Jolie. Why does Angelina Jolie always have to play female characters that for whatever reason like to kick or hurt people? Like, I don't know why. It's like, fam, make her do something else for a change. She's always gotta play bitchy characters. Or at least characters who punch or kick a lot. Like, have her do something else for a change. Oh yeah, Will Smith. Yeah, he voices the main character in Shark Tale. Because Angelina Jolie is badass. She is, don't get me wrong, she is. It's just that there are a few movies that she's in where she plays a character that I just really don't like. Like in Shark Tale, like that one fish lady she played, I just did not like her. I'm sorry. I know some people find the scene of that fish kicking Will Smith's character's ass funny. I didn't find it very funny at all. I found it pretty obnoxious. I didn't like that even as a kid. Sorry, not sorry. That I find that fish lady character a bitch, a cunt even. Sorry, not sorry. But anyway. But yeah. Although I liked the main character's girlfriend though. She was nice. The thought lady can go fuck off though. I don't like her. Anyway. But yeah, that's all I have to say on these movies. DreamWorks has really stepped up their game with The Bad Guys. Like their most recent movie, and they knocked it out of the park. Oh, I want to see how it did in the box office. Let's see. I bet from what I heard, it did really well, but I don't remember exactly how well it did. So let's see. And let's see. Damn, how the fuck does it have a... Oh wait, it's IMDb, of course. Like, it has a 6.8 out of 10 for IMDb on IMDb, but like that's not really surprising considering it's IMDb. What was the budget? 69 to 80 million. The box office, it made 247 million. IMDb ratings are trash. That site gets review bombed all the time. Yeah, that explains it. Let me look at how it let me look at how the movie did in Rotten Tomatoes. The Bad Guys, Rotten Tomatoes. 88% for the tomato meter, 93% audience score. Yeah, did pretty well. What I should probably point out is that one complaint that people have about the film, which to me is pretty subjective, is that it's not an entirely faithful adaptation of the books. As I said, it's actually very, well, I wouldn't say, I think very is too hard a word. It's just, it's an unfaithful adaptation to a moderate degree, but like, I'm like, that's fine though, because that's the thing about adaptations. You change them so that they can fit in a new medium. Like, so like for books, you change some things here or there so that they, so that they can be on the big screen. Maybe on the TV show or in a TV show, on a movie or whatever. Or on a TV show or in a movie, sorry. Like it's okay for adaptations not to be entirely faithful. Like you don't have to like adaptations if they're not entirely faithful, or even if they are entirely faithful. Like it's okay if you don't like an adaptation, but to me that's not really a fair reason to, say that the film is bad or anything like that. It's okay if it's okay for adaptations not to be faithful. That's kind of how adaptations work anyway. So I think it's fine. In fact, like, I actually like the plot of this movie. I liked it a lot. I don't feel like reading the books though. I know DreamWorks, they make adaptations of books a lot. Again, Shrek, How to Train Your Dragon, The Bad Guys, Rise of the Guardians. I just don't care to read the books. But I do enjoy the movies. So, yeah. I still feel like Letterboxd is the most reliable when it comes to audience ratings. Although that has changed slightly with the new movie getting review bombed, that I won't mention because it's supposed to be rated NC-17 and covers sensitive topics. Oh, okay. Let's look at how it is. The Bad Guys is on Letterboxd. Then Letterboxd. Three and a half out of 5 stars. So 7. Okay, that's a fair score. I'd give it at least a 7 and at most a 9.5. The thing with adaptations is that there's a fine line between being faithful to the material and just copying and pasting from it. Exactly. Exactly. Like, it's okay to change things here and there. Or even to change things greatly to a degree. Because sometimes the source material may just have problems in it. The original source material. Sometimes it might have problems. Which adaptations are supposed to fix. So, yeah, it's okay for adaptations not to be faithful. As long as there's some semblance of the original product, then it's fine. But if there's no semblance, then you might as well just make something completely new. But of course, you don't want to copy too much. Well, depending on the content anyway. Sometimes it's okay to just copy a lot, but there are just some things that should be corrected and that shouldn't be copied. The thing with Rotten Tomatoes is that the percentage of a movie isn't a direct critics' ratings. It's just a percentage of critics that gave it a favorable review. Oh, okay, that makes sense. How is it? That makes sense, actually. I wonder if Metacritic work the same way, or is it different? I think it's different, but let me see. Yeah, no, it's different. It's in that these are average ratings, I think. So the user score is 7.5 and the Metascore is 64. Well, whatever. Like, a movie can get a 100% rating, but it's still rated as a 6 out of 10 movie from critics. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, Metacritic is different. Yeah, that one has average ratings. But yeah, really, I just like The Bad Guys. It was a solid film all around. I think I'm gonna do like 3 more rant streams, like one for the Toy Story movies, one for the next 4 DreamWorks movies that I'm going to cover, and one for oh yeah, the last 3 Illumination movies I'm going to cover, because I have almost all the Illumination films. I just need 3 more, so I'll cover those. Although people don't like them, I'm just going to watch them anyway, because why the fuck not? But yeah, that's all I can say about the movies. Overall solid. Yeah, The Bad Guys got like an 88% overall rating, but like the average rating is a 6.9 out of 10. That's just something I find interesting. But anyway, that is The Bad Guys. And that's basically the entire rant stream. I don't think I have any other comments. I don't think I do. Anything else? Yeah, I can't think of anything else. That's basically it. But yeah, like 3 more rant streams, and I think I'll be done with movie rant streams for now. I don't plan on covering any more movies, because I'm like, I've done enough. But I really do want to do the Toy Story one. Oh, that one's going to be a lot of fun. Oh, man. And I'll make sure you're there for that one, Maple. because I know you have a lot to say on the movies, especially Lightyear. Everyone just found that one disappointing. So I'll be watching all of those on Disney Plus. Yeah, I think what I'm gonna do is like, yeah, I'll figure it out. I'm trying to see how I can schedule this. Well, whatever. I'm probably gonna tackle the Toy Story one next. Just feel like I want to do that one first, and then and then and then go and do the others. But yeah, that's the end of that. Oh, Thomas, you're still here. Yay. But yeah, that's really all I have to say about these movies. Push it back to next week. That's fine. That's fine. Like, I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna do it any day this week. It's just not gonna work. Either sometime next week or maybe even the week after that, but certainly not this week. So the Guardians did all of those. But yeah, that's that. Okay, thank you all so much for watching this rant stream. Oh, you're seeing the movie tomorrow, and I'm working the next 3 days. Okay, so tomorrow's Thursday, and then 1, 2, 3. Yeah, I'm not going to be streaming on any of those days, don't worry. Probably going to have like one rant stream on either Tuesday or Wednesday, or maybe even Thursday. We'll see. We will see. But yeah, thank you all so much for watching this rant stream. This was really fun. Wait, how long have we been doing this? Damn, 2.5 hours. But yeah, you enjoy your movie, Maple. But yeah, thank you all so much for watching. I am Chumiller15, and I'll see you guys next time. So until then, deuces.